This is the longest day of the year, and in the next 24 hours, I think it's at 4:12 tomorrow morning is the actual apex of the longest day. So that's a huge thing, that we are, some expressions say we are in the light, and I like that, uh, we are in the light. And so we're going to have I'm going to do a bit guided, but also silent, kind of between the words or whatever. And then we'll go for about 35 minutes, and then we'll have a 5-minute break, and I will give a talk. And I'm not sure how it's going to go. I have some stuff I want to do, so it may take a little longer than we'll see if I get to questions, but that's okay. That's life. It's the questions will always be there. So I'd like you just to take a moment to kind of check into your body, and kind of you're on your couch or your chair, or a bench or pillow. And just allow the mind to turn towards the body. And again, the beauty of it is that when the mind is connected to the body, it can't be in the past or the future. It can only be in the here and now. And that's essentially where we begin, is with the here and now of moment to moment awareness. So as you feel into the body, I'd like you just to bring your attention to your feet. And again, it doesn't matter, eyes open, eyes closed, one eye open, one eye closed, whatever feels comfortable. But usually at the beginning of practice, I like to have the eyes closed, and just kind of because we're turning the mind kind of inward and essentially to the body. So just begin by bringing the attention to your feet, and whether you're on a bench or couch or chair or whatever, just to note, this is that contacts the earth. And so just feeling into the energy of that contact, or just the fact that the feet are that contact to earth. And just letting the mind kind of settle in there. And then we're just simply going to allow that awareness that at present is inhabiting the feet to begin to move. So the attention begins to move from the feet into what we know as ankles. And again, the words are just there for different experiences of body. They themselves, in a sense, you can say, are hollow or empty of. And the other is actually the experience of being present for. And just allowing that attention in the ankles, then both ankles, same time. And then we'll just move up through what we know as calves and shins. And again, the practice is to bring awareness to it. So it actually, that awareness then kind of notes the the physical sensations of that experience. Mind in body. And then just allowing that attention to move up through both the calves and the shins, up to the knees. And from the knees into the thighs. There's no right or wrong way. There is just simply the mind awakening to the nature of the sensations of the body. And of course, some areas may be blank and other areas may have strong sensation. But the idea is when it is just aiming the mind. And this allowing that awareness to move up into that's maybe on a chair, bench, or pillow, couch, of the butt on the holding the weight of the torso. And then one can simply move from the kind of that contact between the weight of the torso and the buttocks. And then just allow, very gently, allow the awareness to move up through the lower part of the torso. You know, and this will be, of course, what we know is the lower back and the vertebrae and the belly. And again, whatever is, if I can use the language, feelable of the sensation. What's a feeling base? And bringing the attention up through that lower belly into that central part of the belly, the lower vertebrae and the really this central part of the belly. It's really the place, in some ways, kind of the place of fire element, of digestion, of the capacity to be grounded amongst other experiences. So it is that the Dantian or the Hara in the martial arts, or a lot of the movement arts, is that place where we can bring our attention to ground ourselves. And then just allowing from there the attention to move into the fingers of both hands from that central part of the belly, and from the fingertips through the fingers and the palms and the thumbs into both wrists, into the forearms. Just feeling our way up from that place in the belly to what we kind of know as it's kind of the in-between area. We know it as the diaphragm. And as you note the diaphragm, just to note the feeling as the breath kind of moves the belly and the lungs simultaneously in this life of breath. And then allowing your attention now to go back to our elbows, the forearms, and go up to both upper arms, just to feel the bicep and tricep, both arms, where they connect to the torso, and allow that awareness. There's the vertebrae, there is the lungs as they expand and contract, and the ribs, and the heart, like the breath, has its own function. And feeling into the upper torso. And there's the kind of shoulder blades, the breasts, the pectoral muscles, and the shoulders sockets, and both arms. And then from there, just allowing your awareness to move up into the upper vertebrae, which we know as neck, the throat, up into the face. And again, a lot of the practice of bringing attention to the body in this way is the ideals that somehow, when the mind, not making up stories, is simply connecting, that there's a sense of relaxation or a sense of ease that is naturally occurring in the contact. And then just allowing that attention to, there is the complexity of the head, where we have the sense doors of the taste and smell and hearing and seeing. And so just to bring attention up, and I won't go into each one this time, but just to kind of note them. And just that then the awareness kind of expands, including the sound and including the smell and taste, and the seeing, whether your eyes are closed or open, there is still the awareness of seeing. And then bring the attention up right to the crown of the head. And then just feeling into the whole body, from the crown of the head down to the toes and the feet. And again, if you find the mind just going to the breath, which we've all trained in, or if the mind goes to just, you could say, the knowing itself, just that awareness, or some specific, it's okay. The idea is that the mind is now engaged with the knowing. And it should be, there should be this awareness of relaxation there. No matter what arises in any of the sense doors, or the mind and its thoughts, memories or fantasies or jabber, that we simply just loosen, let it go. There's nothing worth thinking about or knowing right now. There is just this sitting in the center of the awareness, the knowing itself, through the breath or body, through hearing, through smell or taste, through thought, memory, planning, fantasizing, whatever occurs is simply something to, in a sense, I like the language, is just bow to it. So just release it, bow to it, let it go. sitting in the center of your world and the world. And we're trying to go from the center of your world to the world. No place to go, nobody to be, nothing to experience, just resting. Resting in that sheer presence. It's true, you're always free. Only the beliefs and the stories and memories do we catch ourselves. But the practice is to free it up. More than our senses, more than our thoughts and memories and fantasies and plans. The awareness, like Teflon, things simply slide off of it, leaving one here And in a few moments, we return to here. And a few more moments, we return to here. Ultimately, no past and no future. Ultimately, even no here. There's just awareness. The mind, when it's freed, is like vast space, allowing the sun, the moon, the stars, the comets, all pass through this clear nature of mind, including this ambulance in the background or fire engine, not sure which. It just comes and it goes. When one sits in the emptiness of things, it also is the awareness of the fullness of things. So there's no separateness between the emptiness or the fullness of things. It's just the way it is. And you may relax or not. So the mind is awake, and the body is a privilege of life. See if you can't keep the mind aware of the body and of the awareness itself that holds the body and the rest and all things. So that awareness is your birth right and your fundamental right. Keeping the mind resting in its capacity to not attach, not to kind of put out fish hooks to hook things and try to hold them. The idea here is there is no hook. There is just things that arise and are known by us. Sometimes we have emotional wants or attachments to them, but we also let them go. Ultimately, sitting in the peace of the here and now. So I don't know if Marcia has a bell there, but she does. So if you could just ring the bell to end the sitting, since I am bellless. So welcome to this spring, what's it? It's really spring solstice sitting. And that transitional place where the moon and the sun, all of it's in kind of it's the equanimity, the equal place. And of course, in June the 21st is the lightest day of the year, and December the 21st is the darkest day of the year. So we're in one of those, the places in between, which is perfect for Buddhist thought, because it is really a practice of holding what is known as the middle way. So I'm totally into the middle way. But again, we are extremists, so it's kind of a challenge. And I wanted to start tonight with, this is it's one of my poems, is from July the 1st, so about this time of year in 2014, when I would spend the summers in Ladakh in retreat at the Mahabodhi Society there. Wonderful place, incredible place. And so anyway, this is the poem that I'm going to start with this talk with. It's called the Kali Chakra. Well, just to know, there's two. First, Kali, is sometimes seen as the kind of this destroyer. But another way of looking at this is that the Kali Chakra is the wheel of time, and we're in a rather complicated time period for human beings, if you haven't noticed, and that's really we're in that general tool process of I think waking up through a lot of complexity and darkness around us through Kali in that way. But I like to refer to it as the wheel of time. And so just the context here is the monastery where I was living and stuff, where I would live the summers, was up high. And then down below, the Dalai Lama had his kind of summer palace, monastery, whatever. And so there was, I don't know, there must have been 40, 50,000 people there for the Kali Chakra. And so anyway, this was written during the Kali Chakra. Listening to the drone of the Dalai Lama, thousands of monks perched above in this retreat hut, the sounds stirring this heart in this natural amphitheater. There is a way of being, silencing the sound outside and inside, knowing even the stones speak, robbing my thoughts and words, while the great silence has stolen me. I'll read this last part again because I like it. There is a way of being still, silencing the sound outside and inside, knowing even the stones speak, robbing my thoughts and words, while the great silence has stolen me. While the great silence has stolen me. So I wanted to just, this is a little complex, but I've been thinking a lot about the 5 reflections, in the sense that, I am of the nature to grow old. I am of the nature to get sick. I am the nature to die. And no matter who or what I'm attached to, I will be taken away from it. And my only possessions are my actions. That's the whole ball game right there. So I wanted to just explore with you. There are the 3 traditions. There's the Zen tradition, the Tibetan tradition, and the Theravada, the Vipassana tradition. And each of them has a kind of a, something that brings attention to the process of dying. And I know that sounds a little heavy, but guess what? I don't see any really young people, so I think whatever it is, we're in this process of these 5 reflections, and the truth, the bare truth of the fact that, you just don't. I was thinking, there's this, I saw a picture last night of this really great teacher, Dan Brown. And I was thinking, he's, I know he's in his 60s, and he just died, it's like, just like that. And so suddenly, that awareness comes that no matter, what your actions are, you're still subject to these laws. And these laws of, you can say karma, or, which it just means the action that's happened maybe before, but also there's the body and its genetic capabilities of carrying on. And I know for me, these last 8 months going through lymphoma and COVID and all this stuff, it's been kind of devastating, and a bunch of surgeries, of course, which I'm still dealing with. And so I like these reflections because I think they're really important. And so I wanted to go through there's one of them is just in the Tibetan tradition, it's the Tibetan Book of the Dead. In the Theravadan tradition, it's the Metta Sutta. And in the Zen tradition, it is the verses of faith in mind, So I'd like to read it to you. It's just I hope that none of you die soon. But there's always the possibility, it's somewhere there in your genetic makeup. The way is perfect, like vast space, where there is no lack and no excess. The way is perfect, like vast space, where there is no lack or no excess. Awakening is to go beyond both emptiness as well as form. All changes in this empty world seem real because of ignorance. I read that again. All changes in this empty world seem real because of ignorance. The great way is without limit, beyond ease and the hard. Just let go now of the clinging mind, and all things are just as they are. the essence, nothing goes or stays. To seek great mind with the thinking mind, to seek great mind with the thinking mind is certainly a grave mistake. If mind does not discriminate, all things are as they are, as one. When all is seen with a mind of equality, we return to our most intimate nature. When all is seen with a mind of equality, we return to our most intimate nature. When the mind is fully with the way, all ego-centered striving ceases. Doubt and confusion disappear. And so true faith pervades our life. There is no thing that clings to us, and nothing that is left behind. In its true world of emptiness, both self and other are no more. The way is beyond all space, all time. One instant is 10,000 years. Not only here, not only elsewhere. Truth is right before your very eyes. One thing is all. All things are one. Know this, and all is whole and complete. When faith and the mind are not separate, this very reality is beyond all words, all thought. From here, there is no yesterday, no tomorrow, and no today. So this is the verse in Faith and Mind, and this Xingming, and it is a profound, again, is something that's read at death, just as the Tibetan Book of the Dead are, and the Metta Sutta. These are the kind of in the three traditions. But tonight, I just wanted to deal with one of them, and that is really this, this Xingming. It's translates as faith and mind, but or complete mind. And I think a lot of it is that we do these practices so that in some way we can actually come to a place that has this phenomenal power. And that power is when emotions strike. One of the natures of emotions is that causes a thing called clinging. We try to grapple with it. We try to then, wrestle with it. We try to figure out some way to change it or move it or, make things better. Whatever. We're trying to do something. And from this perspective, it's saying that, when the mind-heart is in balance, and that we can actually let go, then that that hook, that emotional trigger, doesn't have the same validity. And I know, one of the things going through this this illness and surgeries and all that, there's really been this art of one thing of not getting depressed and not seeing it as some terrible thing. It's just life, And so, it's true that going through chemo is not the. I don't wish that on anyone, but I hear that 50% of you, half of you, are going to have to know what I know, but I don't want you to know. I'd prefer you didn't know. But I don't think I'd want you to be like Dan Brown and just kind of, go to sleep and not wake up. So there's no solutions to this. There is just simply how do you want to live your life, under what circumstances? And, that was the thing about being sick. I realized, I have a choice to either be happy or not. And yes, I didn't always feel well, but one of the things was I had to go through 6 rounds every 3 weeks of this RCHOP. And for 5 days after the first give you all these fluids and everything and all this poison, is you have to take prednisone, and you take 100 milligrams of prednisone. And if any of you know what that is, it's, it's like you can't sleep, you can't see, you can't, I was going to say you can't pee, you can't breathe. Well, all of that, all of the above. It is just kind of rocks your world. And yet at the same time, it was such a great, especially not being able to sleep. So, I would just have to lay there at night. And it was some of the best training I think I've had, because it was actually forced on me to, okay, you want to get caught in that? That's not going to go anywhere. You're going to get caught in this? That's not going to go anywhere. So it really, in that sense, I'm sorry to say, but I learned. I learned more. I'm always learning, and this was another level of learning that I wouldn't wish on anybody. But we'll each have something will happen to every one of you, and hopefully you just go to sleep and not wake up. But something will, and I would say I'm probably 90% of you, So in a way, getting to know this faith in mind, that somehow that you can see that, there is a great way. In the poem I read, I loved, the main thing was the end of it. There is a way of being still, and we have been working on that. Silencing the sound outside and inside. Knowing even the stones speak. Robbing my words and thoughts, while the great silence has stolen me. And maybe that last line, it hasn't stolen me. It gives opportunity, But, that's the thing. This is actually a lot of training. I read somewhere that it took, to perfect anything, it took 10,000 hours. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, is everybody around me going to be able to sit for 10,000 hours? I don't know that. I know that I've sat for probably, if it's 10, it's 100,000 hours. And in that process, I taught myself. No one actually taught me this. It taught myself that I could let go when those emotional grasp or gripping that happens. And we usually jump on the bandwagon of strong emotion. And with strong emotion comes, I think, it's just the fantasy world, and that we begin to play with the fantasy world. And it doesn't really go anywhere, you're not going to solve that. What you have to do is learn to let go. And therefore, by letting go, then you quell those hooks that grab you emotionally and they actually pull you into another world. And those worlds are endless. There are the 10,000 kind of like the planetary systems out there. They just pull you out, and you time travel some, but you're not going to get anywhere. You're simply going to be pulled. And you get pulled until you finally go, oh, wonder if I could just loosen a little bit around the hook that's got me, and the story that I have put on it, and the emotion that I have allowed to be stimulated. Good stuff, And maybe, I think, dying could be a phenomenal process, because there's the other fact is that you have to let go. And it doesn't matter who or how it is. A person has to let go. And if they can do it consciously, then it's really like in the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Then, you understand the way. And you also know that, if I can use the language, the great mind, which is that, kind of Suzuki Roshi. I was thinking of the funerals I've been to. I went to Suzuki Roshi's funeral. I've been to, lots of different funerals of different masters. And I always think, it's the same thing. They all have to do the same thing. And you and I, the kind of I'll use the language, the common folk are also going to have to learn this one way or another. And you can do it painfully or not so painfully. And I think what you're doing now by sitting and seeing the places that you're stuck and being able to, what is it? It's really to see into them and the value of letting go. And that letting go is a training, but it's also instinctual. But instinctually means there's more pain than there is intelligence. And what we're trying to do is train ourselves through the intelligence to learn how to let go. And therefore, ultimately, those hooks, and the hooks will always be there. Even as a monastic, it's still all hooks. It's just a different set of hooks. You may have 229 rules of conduct, but there's still desire, there's still fear, there's still attachment. So this is something we all have to experience, whether through the monastic world, which it's a wonderful means, but also as lay people, and maybe ours, because we deal with the world, with jobs and families and kids and, oh my gosh, what John Kabat-Zinn called the full catastrophe, with that full catastrophe, it's great opportunity to learn to let go. I think what I want to do, I have these three here that I wanted to bring, but I was thinking, since we're talking about, I think this is a very short version that they were dying of AIDS in San Francisco in the, was it the late 70s, I believe? And this was, so they wanted to compilate it. So it's just about the essence of the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And so it's a little long, but I'm trying to fill in the possibilities here. Remember the clear light, the pure, clear, white light from which everything in the universe comes, to which everything in the universe returns, the original nature of your own mind, the natural state of the universe unmanifest. Let go into the clear light, trust it, merge with it. It is your own true nature. It is home. The visions you experience exist within your own consciousness. The forms they take are determined by your past attachments, your past desires, your past fears, your past karma. These visions and thoughts have no reality outside of your consciousness. No matter how frightening some of them may seem, they cannot hurt you. Just watch them pass through your consciousness. They will all pass in time. No need to become involved with them. No need to become attracted to the beautiful visions, no need to be repulsed by the frightening ones, no need to be seduced or excited by the sexual ones, no need to be attached to them at all. Just let them pass. If you become involved with these visions, you may have to wonder for a long time confused. Just let them pass through your consciousness like clouds passing through an empty sky. Fundamentally, they have no more reality than this. Remember these teachings. Remember the clear light, the pure, bright, shining white light of your own nature. It is deathless. Remember these teachings. Remember the clear light, the pure, bright, shining white light of your own nature. It is deathless. If you look into these visions, you can experience and recognize that they are composed of the same pure, clear, white light as everything else in the universe. No matter where or how far you wander, the light is only a split second, a half a breath away. It is never too late to recognize the clear light. Isn't that a great translation? I mean, instead of 200 pages, one page, just bare essentials, you know. And I think that's what I'm trying to talk about here, is that there is this, you know, there's an understanding of coming to a place where Buddhism in that way is really simple, you know. It's really talks about, you know, where are you suffering? How are you making the suffering? And yes, some of this is innate. It comes with the body, comes with time, you know, and it's just its nature, you know. And yet there is this knowing, whether it's the, you know, in the Zen tradition, this Xingming, this really, it is faith in mind, but you know, that's a little tricky because it's not, you know, it's not blind faith. It's verified faith. And there's really, when you talk about faith, you know, there's like three kind of versions of it. There is blind faith, which, you know, a lot of religion is based on blind faith. Somebody told me this and that, and I read this book and that book, and then, you know, which is, you know, I'm sure there's some good things about that. And we all start out with blind faith, by the way. And then there is this kind of period of exploration that is based on a mind that is, you could say, is just hearsay. You know, I heard it from the grapevine. It's like that. Or for me, you can hear it from me and go, oh, you know, John said that. Well, but these are not what we're really talking about here. What we're actually talking about is this faith in mind, is that you have explored your own nature and that you have come to know it and be confident in how it is, you know. And for me, this is the whole art of meditation, is that we kind of, at some points, you have to put, it's nice, the books in the beginning are inspirational. They you know, can help you and put you on the path. The borrowed, which is really from people like me or from scholars and all sorts of other teachers. It's called borrowed. It's still borrowed. And then there is verified. And the verified is something that, you know, you have to work for. This is not something given to you. You're only given a few pointers. And then you have to turn your attention to, you know, I'm going to refer once more back to this, you know, because I like it. You know, there is a way of being still. silencing the sound outside and inside, knowing even the stones speak, robbing my words and thoughts, while the great silence has stolen me. So I think that's good. You know, I forget to look at the clock sometimes. We could do something to riff off. So if you have a question, it's sometimes not so easy to see hands up and stuff. Maybe Marcia, if you can, we'll try. Maybe you don't have.
Bruce has a
Simon's
question.
hand up first.
Bruce has a question, and then Patricia.
And then Patricia, great. Please.
First, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you fine.
Oh, good. First, I just want to say, John, I'm so delighted to see you. You've always felt like my brother, and I love you so much. And then I thought of a funny question that I'm wondering in these teachings, the borrowed teachings, if you had any wild animal encounters recently and what they taught you.
I know your nature, Simon. I'm trying to think. I had this amazing. I've been sitting after I stayed with this family for 4 months. While I had to go every week to, I was the, what do you call it, Mr. Hospital. I go back and forth to hospital, and then when I went home finally, I would sit at a window and look out my window, and I don't have a garden. I have the fencing and everything, but I don't have the garden anymore. I haven't for years because you guys are my garden, and I was just sitting there, and I have 3 squirrels. And those squirrels, they are the busiest creatures. They amaze me how busy they can be, And so I'm just sitting there watching, and I have a fox that comes by. It's kind of what do you call it? Saunters is the right language. He saunters by, And so I'm sitting there, and this little gray fox climbed up the fence, chased the squirrel, over. This fence is not easy to walk. It was like amazing. And then he kind of climbed halfway up this tree. And I was like, wow, he's cool, And I didn't realize they were that agile on, a narrow fence like that. Like squirrel, yes, but not a fox. And then the first squirrel went up, and he was up there all day at the top of the tree. He kind of didn't notice him. Anyway, this is just my little story. It inspired me for a couple of days there. It's like, wow, he didn't get the squirrel, and he had to take off. But it was. That's part of nature, So anyway, that's a little story. Good to see you. I thought you would be in Alaska now. No, you're here. Okay.
Hey, John. Hi. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Patricia.
Patricia,
yeah. Can you see me?
Yes, I see you.
It's a little dark. I just had some eye stuff, so I've been in the dark for the day. There's 2 things. One thing, you said Dan Brown passed away. Did you mean the author?
Yes.
Because that is not true.
The Dan Brown who is the Dzogchen teacher, teaches at Harvard.
Oh, okay. Not the one that wrote all those books.
No, different Dan Brown.
Oh, okay. Because I looked and someone said that there was a hoax that the Dan Brown author had died, but he didn't.
No. It was actually he's a Harvard kind of professor, teaches a lot of some of the esoteric Dzogchen stuff.
Oh, okay.
And he just boom, he was dead. It was kind of revelation for me. It's like, oh my God, and he was younger than me. And it's like, oh my gosh, I feel fortunate. I'm still kicking, sort of.
Well, I feel fortunate that you are too. And I guess what comes up for me and thinking of all that you've gone through, and it seems like lately so often, I'll wake up and there'll be something that's gone wrong, a back out. Today I found out about some retinal issues. And it seems like there's this process that's going on. And then all the other things that I study a lot about are like all these people who are studying and talking about longevity and how to live longer and, functional medicine. And I believe in all that, but I'm sort of, there's this feeling that comes that, there's some invulnerability, but there's not. And I realize I have this, where how to be with this every day, something is sort of going. And I think it's kind of what you were talking about in spades, really.
But it's also, it's age, and, our nature is that we will have things that fall apart, and we will eventually die, And so, that could be a negative, but it also can be a positive. And this is where I'm really at. I just, these last 8 months, I have so much gratitude, for the hospitals and all this. They were so great with me. And, and it's taken a lot to heal. And I'm very much healing. I was hoping to go to Thailand. I shouldn't be here talking to you. Oh, I want to try. I'm going to get to Thailand. I'm going to talk to Marcia about this. And I want to see if I can't teach from some of the temples in Bangkok, particularly maybe on Koh Samui or Koh Tao. I'm not sure. I have to kind of check the
that would be great.
web. I will use a hotspot to try that. But for me, it's just that it's showing so much gratitude just to be, and I don't walk the same, I don't have the same balance. There's a lot of stuff. I can't get in and out of the car so easy, but I'm still doing it. So, and I'm going to get on an airplane in 8 days and fly to Thailand finally after COVID and wow, I really got hit, the day before I left, the first time I had to cancel, I got COVID on a Friday and I was flying out Saturday evening. And so that kind of did me in. And then I had a rebound because obviously I've been taking so much chemo that I'm immune compromised. And so I got what they call a rebound with the COVID. Again, a day before I had made a reservation to fly out. So there was some teaching in this. I haven't digested. I think there's a lot about how we live as we have to go through experience. And sometimes it takes a while to digest, and so I'm still in the digestion stage, but.
Well, thank you, John. I'm so glad that to see you today.
Well, I'm glad to hear. And, I wish you, a body that treats you well.
And you too. And I love you, John.
Well, thank you, Patricia. We've been known each other for, I don't know how many years. I was thinking.
Before Spirit Rock was created.
Yeah, before it was built,
Mm-hmm.
So that's a long time ago.
I
So
know,
John-
we're still here.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Marie has a question. She
Oh,
has her hand
Marie,
up.
yes.
Go ahead, Marie.
Hi, John.
Hi.
The gym misses you.
Oh,
John, I appreciate your talk especially coming from your experience, and glad to hear you feel gratitude. The question that comes up, which I think is our ultimate fear, why do you think What's your feeling? What's your sense of why we fear death so much?
The death, to me, death is, there's been the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the Egyptian Book of the Dead. People have built all these pyramids and God knows what around that whole process, and take out a ship and burn the ship. And, it's the unknown. We're always afraid of the unknown. And so here is something that, as human beings, we've always tried to, we're great figure outers, except for nature. But we try to figure it out. And we have, assumptions and concepts, but you can't know. You can't know what dying's like. So it's simply kind of left there in the kind of in the unknown. So in the unknown, it's scary, I mean, we try to know things and suddenly somebody's saying, well, this you can't know, and you contract around it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you fantasize about it, who's come back? Anybody come back? And I mean, we have whole religion around coming back stuff. So,
And yet, how much do you think is ego, how ego doesn't resist, or just how, to be honest, this past Saturday, first ever experiencing euthanizing my cat, one of my cats.
yes.
And this was my buddy, my personal cat, because I think they adopt humans.
Yes.
And she fought it till the end, and I was watching this like, are we just built to survive that much and with the ego and such to just fight it?
We want to live. I think it's so fundamental. I will do everything I can to stay alive. That's the story. No matter how miserable I am, I will do that. And that's just, I think, one level over here, I can just say it's ignorance. And the other level is, it's a natural instinct to want to do that. And yet it is, and this is the other thing, I helped this one woman pass away years and years ago who, she was a great practitioner. She had kind of been everywhere. I'd known her for years. And she had a really great life, everything. And then when she came to dying, I ended up sleeping on her floor for 10 days during this process. And about 3 days before she died, she fought these demons. And I thought, where in the hell did they come from? I never saw any of them in her life, but they were there. And so, yes, we can't know that stuff. Mm-hmm. And she fought through it, and in a sense, she was forced to let go of some shadow stuff that I had no idea she carried,
Mm-hmm.
And
we can hide things well.
Well, we do, and sometimes, and I don't want to get too out there here. Sometimes it's not so much about now as it was about something from the past. I mean, not this time around. You enter kind of the cosmic sphere there, and so we don't know.
Like we don't know what we bring in with us.
No, you don't. I mean, I have my own talks on karma and stuff, and it's very interesting. That whole thing. Actually in Ladakh one year, I studied it for a whole summer. I was up there in retreat, and I was just like so fascinated. It was like, oh my gosh, this is.
Just one last note too. In sharing this realization of this fear of death came years ago. Like kindred friends, spiritual friends, and I would I used to call it mentally masturbate, like just dissect, for hours, sometimes 24 hours. We would just keep going and going. And it ultimately, many times would come down to ultimately just not knowing. And ultimately, the bottom underlying fear of most actions and behavior came from this fear of death, of some form of death. Whether in the ego, or the ultimate death.
What can I say? I think that's just the truth, is that we're fraidy cats. If we don't know it, then we're afraid of it. And when something like this, like death, we're afraid of it. And I think it's an honest evaluation of the kind of projection around it, not the process, but the projection around it. And I hope that part of this whole, training the mind, is it's like the little moments that you let go and just go back to the breath, or you let go of an emotion or a thought. Every time you let go, you're training yourself. And that ultimately, my belief is that if you train well enough, that, and that's why I was saying, my friend, that it didn't happen exactly that way, but it still happened. But it's because nature takes, and, the body has to die at that point. So it's going to let go. What it goes through is a question. And I think a lot of what we're being trained to do is we're training ultimately for death. Because the little letting goes will eventually be a big letting go. And
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to, I think Jen has quite a few announcements, so I'm going to do a metta to close, and a universal metta for all of our lives, that we may learn to let go and care for each other. And so just take a moment to kind of just feel into your body and breath, and let go of anything, questions or anything I said, and just bring your attention to your heart. And a lot of it is we put a lot of tension in our heads, and that's why trying to train to come down to the body is one aspect of it. Another aspect is to come down to the heart, because ultimately, when questions are brought, the heart knows, not always the speculation and the mind in that way, the thinking mind. So just come to the heart, relax. And first of all, I use that word gratitude, and just have a little gratitude for yourself right now, in whatever situation, conditions there are, the little sufferings and the big sufferings, and the little happinesses and the big happinesses. Just a little gratitude. And some genuine caring for yourself. You are the most precious being that has ever happened. And to care for yourself is to actually recognize that preciousness, because you are ultimately a reflection of all other beings. And if you can't care and love yourself, you can sometimes, I think relationship stuff, there's all kinds of different ways of feeling or expressing that. But ultimately, this kindness to yourself. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I be free from any type of confusion or suffering. May I have the capacity to let go and experience freedom. And then as you care for self, you also then, simply because there's a thinning out of self, that there is other. And other, usually we traditionally talk about other as just like everybody on this particular Zoom tonight. May you be happy and peaceful and free from confusion and suffering. And then on beyond that, out to beings everywhere. Beings everywhere suffer. And our wish for them is, may they be free of their suffering. May they also awaken for their benefit and the benefit of all.